Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only ZBEC coin. Now, once again, you guys have been killing it, and I just want to say thank you to the ZBEC community. You guys are amazing. It makes me super, super happy that you guys do enjoy these videos and that you guys want them pretty much every single day. Now, let's just jump right into this technical analysis, right? You can see, ladies and gentlemen, we had a big, big, very big green day, right? We went from here to all the way here. Okay, I'm going to literally say the price. So I went from 0.0043 all the way to 0.0055, practically 5.6. Okay, this was a 27% day, 28%. Actually, it was a 28 to 28.5% day. Really, really good, right? ZBEC, ladies and gentlemen, has been killing it, right? It has, because you know, in multiple aspects. First off, people call this coin a scam. It dominates the market. It sells off. People think it's a scam. They don't understand it's a correction. And then the last few weeks has just been climbing, right? It has been climbing super, super nicely. People call it a scam. But guess what? Our profits are going up. So continue calling it a scam. You're clearly giving us some good luck. No, but seriously, ladies and gentlemen, right? We are smashing it. By we, I mean Zebek. And look though, right? We did have this very, very nice big candle, but I will say that, I am concerned about possible pullbacks. And that doesn't actually really concern me too much because the market just has to pull back at one point, right? It has to, but any pullbacks that I expect are not going to be that massive. Worst case scenario, a 15% pullback from here, which isn't even that bad, right? It's not even that bad. But we can see, ladies and gentlemen, we kind of expected bullish price action ever since we kind of got this sell off and we got this Friday candle here. We were really, really, really putting it out there that look, man, as long as Zebek closed up here and we created, a higher low from this low, that we were expecting nice data. Okay. We can see we have a low here, a higher low, and the next 2 weeks, right? We're still in this week technically, but next 2 weeks have been very, very bullish since then. If we take it from the bottom to the literal top, in those 2 weeks, we have gone up 76%. And we were just saying before how, it was super, super important how I expected these types of pumps to be happening because of previous data. Okay, we have a low over here, we have a higher low. And then what happens? The next few weeks are super, super exciting. Okay. Again, once again, we have a low over here. We have a higher low. And then guess what? The next few weeks are super, super exciting. Now you could really nitpick. It's really hard, but it's still in the details. You have this low over here. You have this higher low, technically just by even like 2%. And the next 2 weeks were absolutely glorious, right? They were glorious. So we've seen this in the past multiple, multiple times. And it is why I called it even before this weekly candle closed. And that's exactly what happened, right? That's exactly what happened. When we break it down on the smaller time frame, right? We had a nice, glorious pump. We were starting to slow down. I did say I did, there was a potential pullback opportunity to go lower, but we never did. And we just simply retested off of this beautiful support, right? Generally speaking, you can see this is a very nice support. Over here, we have price action here, here, here. I mean, obviously here. So, the data and the chart, the analysis was right in front of us. We can see then we were starting to expand, right? We had to decide at one point, right? At one point, it was looking a little bit scary because we were getting sandwiched from both sides, right? When we go look at the analysis and we go look at something like the 4 hour chart, we were getting sandwiched because we did have this high, we had this lower high, we had this low, and we had this higher low. And we were practically looking to, make a choice because that's just how the markets work. And you can see that the markets decided to say, hey, we're going up. And ever since then, we've been consistently printing higher and higher lows, right? We have a low over here, low, 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 right? Boom, right? From the bottom, higher, 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 and higher. So it's just been looking fantastic, right? It's been looking fantastic. Now, I do think we are going to start selling off just a little bit because market corrections are normal. Put the pitchforks down, ladies and gentlemen. I know some people hate when I say there's going to be a pullback, right? They hate it. But I have to report the truth, right? I have to report the truth. I do believe there's going to be a little bit of a correction, right? That doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Corrections are healthy. In fact, when the markets are kind of going slower and they're going sideways, we do want a correction. Like this is a time to be correcting. We want to set up for altcoin season. We don't want this slowness when all the other altcoins are really going to start speeding up, right? Bitcoin's still doing its thing. Ethereum's like kind of fast here and there. XRP's fast here and there, but those are like the big boys, right? So we still have at least a few short months before it is truly our turn. And if you guys are not familiar, right? Coins like Zebec that are much smaller, right? That are much, much smaller. They, ladies and gentlemen, kind of start peaking towards the end of the fund. But it doesn't mean it's the worst. In fact, it's the best because coins like our coins could be having insane ratios, insane gains. Okay. And usually, right, usually the best gains happen within those 4 weeks. So, we can be building up slowly now, going back and forth, being very fundamental because, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, when it's altcoin season and it's the peak of peaks, there are no fundamentals. For those couple of weeks, it's just pump, pump, pump. Maybe sideways here, maybe down one day, but it's pump, pump, pump. Like 20 or 22 or 23 out of the days are going to be pumps. Maybe you might have like 4 or 5 sideways days, and you might have like 2 or 3 small sell days. That's it, right? But you're going to pump like 100%. You're going to sell off 10%. You're going to go sideways 2 days. And then again, you're going to pump another like 100 something percent. So it's just the craziest thing in the world, right? It's literally the craziest thing in the world. So yeah, let's be fundamental now. Okay. Let's be fundamental now. Now, if we were to pull back very fundamentally, right, there's two areas that I'm looking for. Now, we do have this bottom area, which I don't really think will be going back down here necessarily. I do think there is a high probability of us pulling back down all the way to 0.0046, right? Because even if we go on the weekly, right, even if we go on the weekly, you have to remember, even if we pull back on a daily, at one point it has to pull back on the weekly. So coming, let's just say between 0.0042 and 0.0046 would be probably the ideal area where I would be looking for a pullback next week. Now, I will say though one thing, right? That this is a very nice July candle. Like this is actually a very, very nice July candle. And I overall expect August to be fairly good as well. And by the end of August, I at least at the bare minimum expect to be near all-time highs so we can start pumping for September, October, and November, and as well as December. And technically I stand corrected, right? This is only the second month of the 3 month candle, but sometimes we do see where, for example, July is recovering, August is recovering again, September has a little bit of a blast off, then a little bit of a pullback, and then September starts going like this, and then October, November, December could be like the craziest months of our lives. They really, really could. Okay. But yeah, ultimately, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.